Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. It's been about a year since I posted my last video, so I just wanted to come back here. I want to start uploading more videos, so I wanted to give an update kind of where my life has gone since that last video, what I'm doing now, and kind of plans for the future. So if you want to hear more about that, stick around. I'm sorry, by the way, I'm sitting on my floor in my bedroom. I'm living with my parents right now, and not that I can't have another setup, but this is what's gonna do for now. My dog is sleeping on my bed, and if I'm not close to her at all times, she freaks out. So this is gonna have to do. And I'm also not used to looking. I'm on my phone, so I'm trying to look at the camera. So when the last video left off, I was living in St. Augustine for school. I was finishing up my master's in occupational therapy, or I was in the middle of it, I guess. I was planning on figuring out where I was gonna go for my field works, and I had found a surgeon a couple hours away that was the same surgeon that my friend had gone to. So I was like, all in on going to someone that was kind of recommended by someone nearby. So that's kind of where I was at. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave either the link in the description of this video or put it up in the corners if I figure out how to do that. I am not a professional YouTuber, a professional YouTube watcher. Haven't had much experience myself. So I'll try to get better, hopefully, as time goes on. But that's kind of where I was whenever I left off. I had been approved by insurance. I was all set to go finish my field work after I had the surgery around Christmas time, I think was the plan. So right now it is the beginning of August 2019. I think I recorded that video September 2018 or around that time. So obviously I didn't have the surgery yet. I have lost a little bit of weight, which I'll get into, but not a substantial amount. So kind of the story of why I decided not to have surgery at that time. I talked to some of my professors about this upcoming surgery because my first fieldwork rotation was in outpatient pediatrics. And occupational therapy is a really physical job, especially working with little kids. You're on the floor with them all the time, doing all kinds of things. And I just wanted to make sure that if I was going to have ample time to recover and I wasn't going to have to worry about telling the site that I was having surgery and then just like losing the opportunity to go to that site because they would reject me, or not because I had that surgery, or just saying like, oh, we don't feel like you're going to be totally healed. We don't want to take you just in case, which I was told that could happen. And I spoke to a couple of my professors, just talked through it with them. One of my professors had actually had the surgery, which is really cool, and she's a really amazing lady. So it's cool to talk to her about her experiences. And she was saying, if I were you, I would wait until you had the most time you can, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know your body, or you don't know how your body's going to react to the surgery, yada yada. So we prayed about it, me and my family, and we decided that the best thing to do was to wait until I finished my 2 field works. They're both 2 12-week internships. So until I finished those 12-week internships, and then I was going to have the surgery. So I went ahead and I moved down. I'm in South Florida now. And initially I was going to just make the commute. It would be probably about like 4.5 hours to go to the surgeon that I was going to go to up there, living down here. And so we were just gonna do it and say, you know what, I want to, stay with someone who we supposedly trust, and that was gonna kind of be the plan. After a while, I just started to kind of get uneasy with the thought of having to drive that far for surgery. I mean, you know, people go out of the country for the surgery and stuff like that, and that's totally fine. I just wanted to have someone nearby that I could do follow-up appointments with easily, that if they had any type of like counseling and they offered, that I could be easily accessible to that. You know, things like that. I started to get uneasy about having everything that far away. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, I hadn't set a new date for the surgery. I kind of just said, let's put everything on hold until I know a little bit more about where I'm gonna be in a couple months. And that's kind of where I left it with them. And so I just started looking at places down here, and I ended up coming across this surgeon called Dr. Saives, and he has a really, like, his website really intrigued me. It was talking about the psychological approach to weight loss, and I was kind of like, I didn't know what all he was talking about. So I was like, you know what, it doesn't hurt anything to just go in and meet with him. So I did, and he pretty much laid it out there. He has, you know, degrees in psychology as well. So he has a very like particular science about how everything works. And it was really, really cool. So basically I went to my first meeting with him, and he's a very tell it like it is kind of person. And he was basically like, so this is the reason why you're fat. And it's because of, you know, an addiction to carbs. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, and he went into, he kind of uses an addiction model, and I don't want to go totally into it just because I know that I won't do it justice. But basically the thing is, you know, the carbs are like a drug for someone like me who uses them as a coping mechanism. So, you know, when I'm happy, I eat. When I'm sad, I eat. When I'm bored, I eat. And usually it's something sugary or carby, which, you know, carbs are sugars and all that. So basically the solution would be to completely cut out carbs. And that seems really drastic, but if you think about it in a way of that being a, you know, a drug that I am addicted to, having just a little bit of it would not be me abstaining from it, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. So like, you wouldn't give an alcoholic just one drink and still say they were sober, because that was the, you know, the drug that got them to where they want to be, or that where they didn't want to be. And so completely abstaining from that is what they are striving to do, and that's their solution. So I didn't totally subscribe to that. I totally get it, what it means, you know, what that represents, kind of what he's getting at. I didn't totally 100% subscribe to the idea of just completely cutting out carbs. He is a huge keto supporter, and he, you know, he goes around and he talks about it, and his science is, he has everything backed up, and he, you know, he's very smart, he's very knowledgeable. So at first I was like, I wouldn't say I totally disagreed. I was kind of like, you know, I kind of see what you mean. I don't think keto is going to be for me, but I'll be willing to give it a try. And then the one thing I really do like about him is that before we even discuss surgery, we met like 3 times just to talk about the psychological process that got me to where I am as far as my weight, and kind of what are some ways that I can deal with my own emotional dysregulation without using food, which even for a person that seems like, you know, I'm pretty happy. It's not, it's not the fact that I'm, you know, depressed all the time and that's why I'm eating. It's just any type of emotion. That's just what you do. You eat. And it's like a comfort thing. And so just kind of talking about new ways to find comfort in other things, whether that be spiritual, exercise, doing something fun, doing like crafting, doing a hobby, you know, finding something else like that, something else to do, reading, singing, whatever it may be. And so we kind of talked about things like that. But to touch back on the keto, I there was like a couple of steps that he kind of wanted me to take. One was intermittent fasting, which I actually love, and I did it. So there was a couple things that I did for a few weeks really well, and I kind of fell back into some bad habits and have stopped up until now. And but those things were like intermittent fasting. I did keto for like 2 weeks, which, you know, keto is more high fat and cutting out carbs, and it deals with the way that your body burns calories. That's my dog. That's like she's a miniature dachshund, so she burrows. So she's under the covers. So those three were the main things. Also trying to, you know, incorporate exercise and being more active as part of that. The only problem with that was I decided to start those new things the either the day of or the day before my second 12-week internship. So not only was I going to start a major life event and, you know, start this process of learning in a new place and stuff, I began keto and intermittent fasting. So the very first day, I like skipped breakfast and didn't eat lunch until later, and I was running around a hospital and trying to like learn a bunch of new things, and it was really stressful. And I started, I didn't, I think I didn't do keto totally right, but I definitely got the keto flu where you get totally like zonked, where you just, if you kind of don't measure out your fats and your salt intake, you can get really exhausted really easily for the first couple days of keto until your body kind of gets back into a new sort of routine. So I definitely felt that, and I don't think I let myself push through, honestly. um, I didn't suffer long enough to get to the good the good part. um, so that's something that I'll go into more in a sec. But the other really hard thing about this season of life was the fact that I was working in a hospital. And so, hospitals, I mean, this can be said of many workplaces, but hospital workers love to eat. they, everybody in the rehab, so like all the therapists, every day it was either somebody's birthday, somebody was doing something, someone bought a house, somebody got married, somebody having a baby. Um, we had like all kinds of celebrations for all kinds of things. One day it was like speech therapist week, so we brought in stuff to celebrate them. It was seriously always something. It was always sweets, you know, cake, ice cream, um, pastries, all kinds of stuff. It was always in the break room. Um, and I don't have a ton of self control, especially when it comes to social settings. That's one of my biggest issues that has always been is that I talked a little bit maybe in that last video about binge eating. I did. Yeah, I just rewatched it last night, and that's why I was like, I need to start this update video. So I've never been diagnosed with a binge eating disorder, and I've talked to my nurse practitioner that I go to dealing with anxiety and things. And so we talked about it, and I definitely can binge eat and have multiple times, um, particularly in a social setting, but not enough to define it as a disorder. So when I say that, I don't want to discount binge eating disorders as an actual thing. They certainly are, but I definitely have fallen into binge eating numerous times. And so sometimes when I go into a social setting and there's lots of food that's offered to me, I can't stop and I will make myself sick because even whenever I already don't feel good because I've eaten so much, I want to, like, I'll just be like, oh, I can just have one more. It's just, because it tastes so good and I want to try everything that's here. Or even if I've tried everything, I want a little bit more. And I remember one day in particular at work that I did that. It was some kind of potluck of some sort. I don't even know what for. And I got so sick. And I kept like having to run to the bathroom. Sorry, TMI. I also have IBS, which is great. That I kept having to run to the bathroom all day, and my fieldwork educator, who was like the supervisor over me as a student, she knows that I have issues with stomach things, and she was like, "Girl, you are messed up." And I said, "I know, I did this to myself," which is really frustrating and dumb. But I am blessed that somehow, even through that, I have lost about 18 pounds from my highest weight. It's really through God's grace that somehow I did not gain a ton of weight through working at the hospital. I kind of maintained. I didn't lose any weight. I stayed about the same. So that 18 pounds has been from my highest recorded weight, which I think, I want to say like around December maybe. So sometime within this year, I've lost that. Just trying to make subtle changes and nothing drastic. It's really just been a blessing. I can't tell you any secrets to how I did it, and I feel like I didn't deserve it. I didn't earn it. But I think just being a lot more active as far as work, having to just being an active job in field work and stuff. But it is what it is. So that kind of brings us to where I am today. The last time I saw Dr. Saivez was about last week, a week ago or so. And we are now at the almost pre-op phase. So I totally decided to move. I decided to go with Dr. Saivez instead of the surgeon that I was going to go with. I just really loved his approach. Whether I totally agreed with him on keto or not, I really liked his idea of making sure the psychological aspect and emotional aspect of, being in a healthy mindset and coping with your emotions in ways without using food. I thought that was super important. And so I decided to transfer everything to his office down here, which was a beast to do. Surprisingly, it was a lot more work than I had intended. So I kind of had to jump through all the hoops of getting everything improved by insurance again, which thank goodness it did. So yay. But so I met with him last week. We kind of went through some other things, and I am set to start my pre-op diet tomorrow. Today is August 11th. It's Sunday afternoon. And I am going to start basically back on keto tomorrow. I'm gonna try to make a video this week of kind of different clips throughout the day, and I'll talk more about the pre-op diet then. But that's kind of where I am now. I'm enjoying, whether that's good or not, I'm kind of enjoying my last carby day for the foreseeable future. So, but you know what? One thing I will say is that I am in such a better place mentally than I was when I was planning on getting it done in December, because I was like really mourning the loss of this friend that I had found in food, and I was not ready to give that up. And I feel like I've really put in the thought and the research, and I feel a lot better equipped to deal with what's coming up. And I think I have more confidence in myself that I'm going to be able to do it. I feel more like resigned to do it, resolute. I don't know. You know what I mean? I feel like I can do it. And so I think that, God's timing is perfect, and it was all supposed to happen this way. So my surgery is scheduled for August 26th, 2019. So about 15 days from today, which is like, really exciting. So that's why tomorrow is, 14 days, so 2 weeks before. So I'm going to start that soon, and I'm really excited. I've been documenting my journey on Instagram ever since before I made that last video, which is kind of crazy to think about. It's been a long time. So if you want to follow me on there, my Instagram is Daring to Be Emily. I changed it. It was something else last time. But I decided I didn't like that anymore, so I changed it to the other. So if you want to give me a follow on there and follow my journey, you are certainly more than welcome. I am going to be trying to upload more here, especially the pre-op, the surgery process, because I've been like binge watching all of everybody on YouTube that has had this surgery. I want to see what they went through and how bad did it hurt, and how do they survive afterwards. And I follow tons of people on Instagram, tons of people on YouTube, so I kind of wanted to document all those things for myself, which is why I have the Instagram and this YouTube channel that I'm hoping to utilize more. So you can please let me know if you'd like to see more of those things. If you want to do all the YouTube-y things, I mean, no one's watching this at this point, but you can like, comment, subscribe, all those things. And I will hopefully be making more videos. If you don't see anything from me here, check on my Instagram. I'm much better at keeping up with that. So yeah, that is it. I'm really excited for what's to come. If there's anything I left out, just let me know. And if you have any questions for me, you can leave them in the comments or send me a message here or on Instagram, and I will try to get back to you. Thank you guys. You've seriously, just the community on Instagram has been so sweet and given me a lot of support already. And I feel like I have a lot of people that are rooting for me and praying for me and sending me good wishes and good luck. And so thank you ahead of time for that, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.